Hello, my dear friends. This is third lecture in the sixth module of number theory, and today we are going to see Fibonacci numbers. Fibonacci numbers are known after the name of mathematician Fibonacci. So this is the picture of Fibonacci. His name was Leonardo of Pisa, and famously known as Fibonacci. His father's name was Fibonacci. So he was the greatest mathematician of the Middle Ages, and he wrote under the name of Fibonacci, which is the contraction of Filius Fibonacci, and that means Fibonacci's son. Let us know about the life of Fibonacci. So Leonardo Pisano, called Fibonacci, was born in Pisa. His father, Benacchi, was a wealthy Pisan merchant and representative of the merchants of Republic of Pisa. After 1192, he took his son with him because he wanted Leonardo to become a merchant like him. He thus got Leonardo to study under the guidance of a Muslim teacher who guided him in learning calculation techniques, especially those concerning Indo-Arabic numbers which had not yet been introduced in Europe. Fibonacci's education started in Beja and continued also in Egypt, Syria and Greece, places he visited with his father along the trade routes before returning permanently to Pisa starting from around 1200. For the next 25 years, Fibonacci dedicated himself to writing mathematical manuscripts. He wrote Liber Abaci in 1202, thanks to which Europe became aware of Indo-Arabic numbers. Now, Fibonacci sequence. What is a Fibonacci sequence? The Fibonacci sequence has always attracted the attention of people since as well as having special mathematical properties, other numbers so ubiquitous as those of Fibonacci do not exist anywhere else in mathematics. They appear in geometry, algebra, number theory, and many other fields of mathematics and even in nature. So Fibonacci numbers are the numbers which occur in Fibonacci sequence. So Fibonacci numbers are the terms of that sequence such that each number is the sum of the previous two ones. That is, if f1 and f2 they are 1, then fn is fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2 for every n greater than 1. Such sequences in which from a certain point on every term can be represented as a linear combination of preceding terms are known as recursive sequences. So Fibonacci sequence is also a recursive sequence, but this is the first known recursive sequence in mathematical work. Now, the rabbits of Fibonacci and the famous sequence. Liber Abaci, in addition to referring to Indo-Arabic numbers, which subsequently took the place of Roman numerals, also included a large collection of problems addressed to merchants concerning product prices, calculation of business profit, currency conversion into various coins in use in Mediterranean states, as well as other problems of Chinese origin. Alongside these commercial problems were others much more famous, which also had a great influence on later authors. Among them, the most famous source of inspiration for many mathematicians of later centuries is the following. So this is the rabbit population problem. It goes like this. How many pairs of rabbits will be born in a year starting from a single pair if each month each pair gives birth to a new pair which becomes reproductive from the second month? So this is the rabbit problem. So the solution to this problem is the famous Fibonacci sequence. So this is the Fibonacci sequence. We can notice that from this and after this second term, that is n greater than equal to 3, from this term we can notice that so each term is the addition of previous two terms. So 2 is equal to 1 plus 1, 3 is equal to 2 plus 1, 5 is equal to 2 plus 3, and so on. So a sequence of numbers in which each member is the sum of the previous two. So let un is the nth Fibonacci number, then u1 is 1, u2 is 1, u3 is 2. So in the Fibonacci sequence, we have u3 is equal to u2 plus u1, 2 is equal to 1 plus 1, then u4 is equal to u3 plus u2, u5 is same as u4 plus u3, u6 is same as u5 plus u4. So u1 and u2 they are 1 and un is equal to un minus 1 plus un minus 2 for n greater than or equal to 3. So this is the rabbit problem. So initially you have single pair of rabbits which is in fertile pair. In the second month it becomes fertile and then it gives birth to the another pair. Then in the next month this also becomes fertile and this pair gives birth to the new pair, and then next month, so these two are coming from here, this becomes fertile and these previous two gives birth to the new pair. So what's the point to bear in mind when we are discussing about the rabbit problem is that each month the young pairs grow up and become adult pairs, making the new adult entry the previous one plus the previous young entry. So we can see from this picture that this is the previous entry and this is the new young entry. So each of the pairs that was adult last month produces one young pair, so that the new young entry is equal to the previous adult entry. So an important characteristic of the sequence is the fact that the ratio between any number and the previous one in the series tends towards a well-defined value, which is 1.618, and this is the golden ratio or the golden section that frequently occurs in nature. Golden ratio is denoted by 5. So golden ratio, this is a very important number and it occurs in nature. We will see it later in this lecture only. So when Fibonacci illustrated this sequence as a solution to a recreational mathematics problem, he did not give it particular importance. It is only in 1877 that the mathematician Lucas published a number of important studies on this sequence, which he claimed to have found in Liber Abaci and which, in the honor of the author, he called Fibonacci sequence. This is a very important result and it shows that the Fibonacci numbers grow rapidly. And this result goes like this: u5n plus 2 is greater than 10 to the power n for n greater than or equal to 1. So we are going to prove it by induction. If we take n is equal to 1, then we can see that for n is equal to 1, this is u7. And from the Fibonacci sequence, we know that u7 is 13. So u7 is greater than 10 to the power 1. 7 is 13, so obviously it is greater than 10. So for n is equal to 1, this is true. Suppose that this statement is true for an arbitrary integer n. So suppose this is true for n, so we are going to prove it for n plus 1. And we already know this recursion formula. Every term is the sum of previous two terms. Uk is equal to uk minus 1 plus uk minus 2. So we are going to use this recursion formula. This can be used several times to express u5n plus 1, and this is u5n plus 1. This term for n is equal to n plus 1. So this becomes 5n plus 1 plus 2, so which is 5n plus 7. Now we are going to represent this u5n plus 7. So u5n plus 7, see these steps, u5n plus 7 can be written as the sum of previous two terms, u5n plus 6 plus u5n plus 5. Then u5n plus 6 can be written as the sum of previous two terms, u5n plus 5 plus u5n plus 4, and this as it is. So 5n plus 5, 5n plus 5, this becomes 2 times u5n plus 5. And then again u5n plus 5 can be written as u5n plus 4 plus u5n plus 3, and then combining them, say again we can write this u5n plus this term 5n plus 4 is written as 5n plus 3 plus 5n plus 2, and then after combining all these terms we got this 5n plus 3, 5 times 5n plus 3. So u5n plus 3 can be written as u5n plus 2 plus u5n plus 1. This, so finally we get 8 times u5n plus 2 plus 5 times u5n plus 1. So we are repeatedly using that recursion rule to reach at this stage. So we got u5n plus 7 is equal to this, which is greater than 8 u5n plus 2 plus 2 times u5n plus 1 plus u5n, and this u5n plus 2 is 8 times u5n plus 2. This is equal to 10 because this thing is greater than 10. So this is equal to 10 into u5n plus 2, which is greater than 10 into this 5 u5n plus 2 is greater than 10 to the power n. So this is greater than 10 into 10 to the power n, which is equal to 10 to the power n plus 1. So by the induction, we have shown that u5n plus 2 is greater than 10 to the power n for n greater than equal to 1. So that means the Fibonacci numbers, they grow rapidly. Now this is the next result here. We are going to show that the greatest common divisor of the adjacent numbers in a Fibonacci sequence, that is the GCD of un and un plus 1, that is equal to 1. That means the terms are relatively prime for every n greater than equal to 1. So on the contrary, let us suppose that the GCD is not equal to 1. I mean GCD of these two terms is d, which is greater than 1. That means d is dividing both of them. D divides un and un plus 1. So that means d divides the difference also. So if d divides un plus 1 minus un, that means d divides un minus 1, because this is same as un minus 1. Now, so d divides un minus 1, and also un minus 1 is equal to un minus 2. Now, since d divides un and d divides un minus 1, that means d divides un minus 2 also. So working backwards, the same argument shows that d divides un minus 3, d divides un minus 4, and so on. And finally, we can reach at this stage that d divides u1. But u1 is equal to 1, which is certainly not divisible by d, because d is greater than 1. So that means our supposition was wrong, and hence the GCD, that cannot be greater than 1. So the GCD has to be 1 for every n greater than equal to 1. So this is one of the property of Fibonacci sequence. Now from Fibonacci sequence, we know that u3 third term is 2, u5 is 5, u7 is 13, u11 is 89. So from this, you can guess that for whenever the subscripts are prime numbers, then the Fibonacci sequence has prime terms. So, but this guess is not true, because when we reach at u19, then u19 is 4181, which is not a prime number, because 4181 is 37 into 130. So that means the thing which we were guessing, that u1 is a prime whenever the subscript n greater than 2 is prime, that's not true. For any prime p, there are infinitely many Fibonacci numbers that are divisible by p, and these are all equally spaced in the Fibonacci sequence. For example, 3 divides every fourth term of Fibonacci sequence, 5 divides every fifth term, and 7 divides every eighth term. Note that successive Fibonacci numbers are relatively prime, that we have already proved, and the greatest common divisor of two Fibonacci numbers is itself a Fibonacci number. This is a Pascal triangle, and in this Pascal triangle, we can easily see the Fibonacci number. So this forms a Fibonacci sequence. Such a triangle is known as Pascal triangle, and in Pascal triangle, we are showing this sequence. This is a tree, and this is called Fibonacci tree. Here the number of stems you see, then this is forming a Fibonacci sequence. So we can notice that Fibonacci sequence is occurring in nature also. This is a rectangle, and then this rectangle we have divided it rectangle this into a square, and then this remaining part is also again a rectangle. And if again we divide this rectangle into this square and this rectangle, so we are going to do this repeatedly. We have a rectangle, make it a square, then from the remaining part again make a square. So until the end we are going to do this. So this sequence becomes a Fibonacci sequence. So a tiling with squares whose side lengths are successive Fibonacci numbers. So if we go from inside, then these two squares, initial square with side length 1, second another one is also with side length 1, then third square is with side, this is a 2 by 2 square, then 3 by 3 square, and then this one is 5 by 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and this 2 is equal to 1 plus 1, 3 is equal to 2 plus 1, 8 is equal to 5 plus 3, 13 is equal to 5 plus 8, 21 is equal to 13 plus 8. So what is it? This is a Fibonacci sequence. So these are Fibonacci numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and 21. So this becomes a Fibonacci rectangle. Next is Fibonacci spiral. Fibonacci spiral comes from here only. If you join this corner and this corner diagonally with the help of an arc, and then this with this part and this corner with this corner, then in this square you join. So we are going to join the corners diagonally with an arc repeatedly until the end. Then we got a we used to get a spiral, and that spiral is known as the Fibonacci spiral. So the most beautiful rectangle, the so-called golden rectangle, this is actually a golden rectangle. The most beautiful rectangle, the so-called golden rectangle, has some very special properties. When a single line is drawn inside a golden rectangle to partition off a square, the leftover interior part is yet another golden rectangle. Here this is a rectangle, and you partition off a square, then this remaining part is again a rectangle. Then from here you partition a square, then this remaining part is again a rectangle. So we are talking about this rectangle. And this partitioning off and creating smaller and smaller pairs of squares and golden rectangles can continue forever. If you create such a figure and then draw an arc sweeping diagonally from one corner of each newly formed square to the other, you will create a beautiful Fibonacci spiral. So from this picture, you can see the Fibonacci spiral. So what we are doing, we are joining this corner to this corner with an arc, then this. So we are going to do this repeatedly. So this is the Fibonacci spiral, an approximation of the golden spiral created by drawing circular arcs connecting the opposite corners of squares in the Fibonacci tiling. Now, what is the connection between the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence? So what is the golden ratio? We have just seen that when we divide a term with the previous term in a Fibonacci sequence, then the series which comes, the series of ratios that ultimately tend to a number, and that number is the golden ratio, that is 1.618. So it might seem totally unrelated, these two things, the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence. But let us check this out. Let's create a new sequence of numbers by dividing each number in the Fibonacci sequence by the previous numbers, the thing which we are talking just now. So remember this, this is the Fibonacci sequence. So let us divide every number by the previous number. So 1 by 1 is 1, 2 by 1 is again, this is 2, 3 by 2 is 1.5, and so on up to this number 144 upon 89. This number we get 1.6179. So the resulting sequence is like this. So we can see that in this sequence ultimately we are going towards the number 1.618, which is the golden ratio. So what we can notice from these numbers, they keep oscillating around and getting closer and closer to this number 1.618, which is the value of phi, the golden ratio. Indeed, completely unknown to Fibonacci. So this fact was not known to Fibonacci. It is completely unknown to Fibonacci. His solution to the rapid population growth problem has a deep underlying connection to the golden ratio that artists and architects have used for thousands of years. So let me show you a video. This will explain you about the Fibonacci spiral and the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds which we use in photography to make the pictures more attractive. So in this video, what we have seen that the golden spiral that comes in natural things very often, and the rule of thirds, which is used in photography to make the pictures more attractive. So what is the rule of thirds? We divide the picture, the whole frame, into that 3 by 3. This three boxes, like two lines, horizontal lines, and two vertical lines. Then the pictures that divided into 9 parts, so 3 by 3, and then we just put the most important part of that picture at the intersection of the lines. Then the picture becomes more attractive. That is the rule of thirds. So let me show you one more video where we have used the Fibonacci sequence in the in the music. So let us see that also. So you see how important a Fibonacci sequence is. So next, this rule of thirds, which we have seen, rule of thirds means this is the rule of thumb or guideline which applies to the process of composing visual images such as designs, film paintings, and photographs. The guidelines that proposes that an image should be imagined as divided into 9 equal parts by 2 equally spaced horizontal lines and 2 equally spaced vertical lines, and that important compositional element that should be placed along these lines or their intersections. So the rule of third was first written by John Smith in 1797, and it when we use this rule, whenever we take a picture or we make any painting, then that picture becomes more attractive, as we have seen in the video. So this picture, you can see this golden spiral can be easily seen. This whole picture is divided into 9 parts, and then you can see. So here we have two pictures. This first picture is cropped without rule of thirds, and this picture is cropped with the rule of thirds. So you can see that this picture is more attractive than this. Now Fibonacci sequence in nature. Let us see once again Fibonacci sequence in nature. So these are the things where you can see Fibonacci sequence. So this is the wrist and this is the horn and this is the ear where you can see the Fibonacci sequence or the golden spiral. So these are the things. This human body which follows the golden ratio, a shell, a hurricane, and this picture, they all follow the golden ratio. Here also you can see Fibonacci sequence, and in this picture also Fibonacci. So these are the things where Fibonacci sequence is visible, or you can say the golden ratio or the golden spiral is visible. So this is all about today's lecture. In this lecture, what we have seen. So first of all, we have seen Fibonacci numbers. Fibonacci numbers are actually the numbers which occur in Fibonacci sequence. And what's a Fibonacci sequence? Fibonacci sequence has the property that each term is the sum of previous two terms. Starting from the term 3, that the third term, that is the addition of previous two terms, and it goes on like that. And the terms of the Fibonacci sequence, they grow very rapidly, that we have proved. And then the next thing which we proved was that the adjacent terms of a Fibonacci sequence, they are relatively prime. And then we have seen Fibonacci sequence in nature, we have seen Fibonacci sequence in music also. So these were the different applications of Fibonacci sequences. These are the references which we have used in this lecture. Thank you.